Oh, my goodness. And there it is. Wow, gets it to go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bowl TV for the 2021 PWBA Tour season. My name is Aaron Smith with Bowl TV, and we will be heading to the lanes momentarily at the Smyrna Bowling Center in Smyrna, Tennessee for the 2021 PWBA Greater Nashville Open. We'll be joined by the rest of the Bowl TV crew in just a couple minutes as we get underway. This is the 10th event of the 2021 season, so 20 events overall. So this is the halfway point, folks. It's pretty crazy. Looking back to the start in January at the Kickoff Classic Series, and we've been kind of in the middle of a stretch right now here, which kicked off in April at the Twin Cities Open. Had a major in there, the USBC Queens, and now kind of on the back end of this second swing of the tour. We have this stop and then one more to go before the players get a little bit of a break before they head into the third swing of the season. So we're very excited to see the field this week. More than 70 players competing at Smyrna. It's a great little facility. We've been there before many times for the collegiate side, looking at the ITC and ISC sectional qualifiers in the past. So definitely a great bowling community in Smyrna, welcoming these bowlers. Fans are in attendance this week as well. So let's go ahead, take a look at this, our first look here at the oil pattern, first look at our competitors this week. So let's head out to the lanes, folks. So we get things underway here. 90 minutes, the practice session here at the Greater Nashville Open. So we'll go ahead and get to the lanes. We'll make it full screen. And as we look at the information for this week, questions always about what's the oil pattern? What are we bowling on this week? Well, this week's pattern, 39 feet in length. .28 mils for the volume. A mix, so a combination of Kegel Terrain and Kegel Current oil being used this week. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But once again, this is practice, so you see the scores accumulating, but essentially that is just for I guess for our excitement more than anything else. But players loosening up, getting ready. 90 minutes this practice session. Looking ahead to the tournament throughout the course of the week. We'll kick things off tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So if you've been watching the last couple of weeks, it's been 10 a.m. Eastern. We are in the Central Time Zone this week, so it'll be 11 a.m. Eastern, the kickoff for the first 6 games, qualifying round number 1. Then all competitors will be back on the lanes at 6 p.m. Eastern for round number 2. And after that, 12 games total will be in the books. The top 32 players will advance to the next round. On a Saturday, we'll kick things off once again, 11 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Bowl another 6 games to get down to the top 12. And then at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, a final 6-game block will determine the 4 finalists for the stepladder finals based off of 24-game pinfall totals. That stepladder will be Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on bowltv.com. Had a pretty amazing tournament last week at the Albany Open. Kelly Kulick taking home the title. She's not competing this week, however. So Kelly taking care of some things back home. Not in the field this week, but she has been on an impressive streak so far in her limited appearances so far this season. Has bowled 5 events, has made 3 shows, a 3rd place, a 2nd place, and now her first win since the 2017 season. Very emotional, very fun to watch. And of course, a battle of titans in the PWBA Tour as well, between Shannon O'Keefe and Kelly Kulick going for the title in Albany. Kelly winning 228 to 217 for her 7th career PWBA Tour title, and as we mentioned, first since 2017. So as always, a big welcome to the Bowl TV community. We see you in the chat. It's like cheers over there. Everybody saying hello, knowing each other, checking in, seeing how we're doing for the week. So big thank you once again to everybody for joining us over on bowltv.com. You know the place to be for wire-to-wire coverage here, the Greater Nashville Open. For the folks watching on Facebook and on YouTube, welcome. We hope you enjoy this look into the practice session from the Greater Nashville Open, Smyrna Bowling Center, Smyrna, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. But to watch wire-to-wire coverage, including the stepladder finals, you do have to head over to bowltv.com. If you want to check it out for free today, you can create a login to head on over to the site. You can watch the same action we're watching right here. You can check out the Bowl TV community, see what it's all about. And, of course, there's going to be opportunities for giveaways as well throughout the course of this practice session. It's something that we do pretty much every week here on the PWBA Tour. So giveaways, just part of the culture of how we do things on Bowl TV here and for the PWBA events. So you got to be on bowltv.com to be eligible for those. So be on the lookout for that. We'll mention it a couple more times before we get there, but you can create a free login and essentially watch what we're watching right now over on bowltv.com. So we encourage you to do so. Say hi in the chat. A lot of friendly folks over there. You can answer any questions you have as well. And of course, we'll do our best to get to those throughout the course of competition. If you're looking for more information, of course, PWBA.com, the one-stop shop for everything PWBA. But if you're on Bowl TV already, you're in the bowltv.com chat. You'll see a few different tabs. We've had this for a couple of weeks now. That middle tab will bring you to a page on PWBA.com, which has all the information we're using throughout the course of competition this week. So we got the roster, oil pattern pairings, qualifying results, and more, all the good stuff that you want to find. Schedule too, available on PWBA.com and bowltv.com. But as we settle in here, a few of the players we're watching here, we got Elise Bolton, Cara Mangiola, then Jordan Muntic. A good story about Jordan as well, specifically tied to the center. But let's bring in another member of the Bowl TV crew. Joining us once again this week. Always excited to chat PWBA with this gentleman. So let's welcome him into the show. The one, the only, Emil Williams Jr. joining us once again on Bowl TV.
Aaron,
Emil, what's up?
Aaron Smith, how are you today?
I am doing well. I'm excited for another week of PWBA action. We're at the halfway point of the season, which seems crazy and among other things, but we're here, we're doing it, and it's been quite a season so far.
We are indeed doing it. It's happening, and what else did you want? Essentially, right? You want bowling, you want the PWBA. Well, we've got it for you this week. Greater Nashville or Open here at Smyrna Bowling Center. You know, Aaron, I thought I had been here, but I guess I had not. In all my years of being involved with collegiate bowling, whether as a player or obviously covering it from one of these seats, if you will, I was convinced that I had been to Smyrna Bowling Center, and so much so that I would have put money on it.
Oh wow,
that's how convinced I was that I had been.
Wow.
But I had been wrong for so many years because I thought I had bowled here in 2006, but I didn't. I was bowling in Chattanooga, which I didn't remember. And so, of course, I had the opportunity to catch up with some good friends of mine. Kyle, Josie Barnes, for example, they live locally. Jessica, Ernest, and Ethan Hansen, soon to be, of course, married those two individuals. So we were talking, and I'm like, yeah, I've been here, 2006. I know it's happened because I remember this story about Pikeville, and right, and I started telling this cool Ronnie Sparks Jr. story and the whole nine, and I was like, no, it's definitely been, like Chattanooga. I'm like, no, you weren't even there. We looked it up, of course, and then because there's always a place, as we say, and the place was Chattanooga. So this is my first time here.
Well, welcome to Smyrna Bowling Center.
Welcome to Smyrna. It's a great place so far, I'll tell you that. 52 lanes of goodness. Pretty sizable, obviously, spot, and it's definitely hosted an extreme number of events. So I think experienced as a tournament host, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, and we'll go back to full screen here as we continue to sit in on the practice session. 90 minutes. We're not even 15 minutes in yet, folks. So we've got plenty of time here to chat and take a look at this pattern. We'll bring the pattern up in a second as well. As we mentioned a little bit earlier here in the broadcast, 39 feet the length, 25.28 mils for the volume, using a combination of current and terrain. So that's a first for the PWBA Tour as well, using both current and terrain in an oil pattern. So something new for this particular week. We saw current being used at the BVL Open a couple of weeks ago. That's one of Kegel's slicker oils, not quite as slick as ice, but and then we got terrain, which we used last week at Albany, which is one of their hooking oils. So a little bit more than fire for that one for folks who are familiar with the different types of Kegel oils. So that's what we're using, a combination of that. We'll toss it up on the screen here. We'll cover up lanes 31 and 32 for just a quick moment so you good folks can see the pattern, kind of see the shape there. And talking to our lane guru, Mr. Nick Hoagland. Some of his notes include, obviously we mentioned it, 39 feet, but with no drop brush. So a little more oil at the back of the oil pattern, using both current and terrain. And wanted to make sure we took notice that terrain is being used on the outside loads and current on the inside loads of the pattern. So something for the players to keep an eye out for as well. He said, historically the center has shown a little hang out there, out to the outside portion of the lane. So part of the reason why terrain is being used on the outside. Taking a look at the ratio perspective, 2.61 to 1. So I guess on PWBA Tour standards, just looking, squarely at the numbers, a little softer than some of the patterns we've seen throughout the course of this season so far. But the oil in the middle of the lane is on the forward pass. Oil on the track is on the reverse. But 39 feet is one of those where you're not quite sure if you want to try to play in, would rather stick out. So that'll be one of the things the players will be attempting to figure out throughout the course of this practice session, kind of see looks from both parts of the lane to see what gives them the best look heading into tomorrow's 6-game round.
We will certainly find out, Aaron. It's an interesting breakdown. But, one thing I've learned this in regards to the ratio. So let me hold my thoughts. Make sure what I remember is correct. All right, so I believe this will be the event with the second most entries on the season, just behind Cleveland, who had 76 on the roster. At this moment in time, we have 73 entrants here at the Greater Nashville Open. And a few names who used to sing and maybe haven't seen or heard from in a while, like Pamela Alvarez, for example. I'm not sure if this is her first event, Aaron. Perhaps you can let me know if that is true or not.
I do believe it's her first event of the year. She is currently on 31 and 32 as well.
Pamela, good to see her back out. And a few non-members certainly this week, which is great. Always love to see ends by players' names. And obviously, you hope at some point those players eventually become members. But when you have non-members, that means that they're taking the chance here to compete, see where they're at, and see what type of noise they can potentially make. And that's always a plus as well. Like Jordan, who you just talked about. A lot of collegiate players in this field too. Looking at some of the non-members who have entered this week. Linda Himes, for example. I saw her. I was really trying to remember where I saw her from. I knew it was through bowling. I knew it was collegiate, and it was Kansas Wesleyan. That's where she attends. I believe. Remember, they won the Mid-States Championship on the women's side back in 2000. Boy, what was that? I guess it'll be the fall of 2019.
It was 19.
The 1920 collegiate season. By the way, I know I missed a few names out there. So hello to everyone. By the way, pretty cool, Richard Jones. We shouted out Richard last week, and Richard now in the chat. He's gone from just hanging out, watching Bowl TV, to seeing his first event live up close and in person last week in Albany. And then to now becoming someone who is going to chat. How about that?
Full circle.
That is very much a full circle situation. Thanks, Richard. Again, hello to everyone else. Yes, at the moment, well, I shouldn't even say at the moment. It looks like we will have 3 champs, and it's solely based on available bandwidth, which also is playing a part to maybe some of you experiencing some slight lag this evening. So that'll be something we'll be keeping an eye on throughout. Hopefully, we won't have to take any drastic measures, but sometimes you have to do the things you have to do, unfortunately. But we'll be paying attention to it, and obviously, you guys will let us know if it's bad. This Bowl TV crowd, they're not shy about letting us know here.
This is true, but
and I respect that. Hey, it's bad. All right.
It's nice to have the reminders, the way to communicate with us and let us know.
Bad.
For instance, when my audio was downright not fun to listen to at all.
Well,
because I was just talking.
I think that's just a different story right there.
But those are the things where we see it. We hope we catch it in a reasonable time to be like, oh, what's happening here?
Let's see what else I missed something. Da-da-da-da-da. That's a good observation there, Richard Jones. That's I don't see it either. I teased this a couple weeks ago because this is a common question on the women's tour about two-handed women athletes. And if all holds well or still true next week in Louisville, again, there will be at least one two-handed bowler who will compete the PWBA Tour. A very young, and in my opinion, on the way to being very good, 16-year-old by the name of Danielle. So that's next week, though. Next week, two-handed bowler. Got a few different reps on the tour this week.
How about that?
Yeah, Jim Callahan is back.
Jim was out at the Queens this year, working for Storm.
He is still with Storm, of course. He is out and about this week. Sean Ryan is back this week for Storm. And, of course, Matt McNeil here this week as well for Storm. For Brunswick, saw Chuck and Eric, who are, I think, very familiar faces now to the Bowl TV community. Chuck on the truck, Chuck Garner, Eric Krause. And I haven't seen Nathan Bohr, but I'm just going to assume that he's somewhere in the building. And just as I say that, Aaron, I look down and there he is.
How about that?
So I think we're all set in that area. So far, Aaron, I'm not sure what to think of this condition here.
I was kind of thinking that too. It's it seems like there's not a lot of, or at least we've been practicing for about 20, almost 30 minutes now, and there's not a lot of hold for folks trying to play in the track right now. So you see Elise go high there, and I think that might, depending on what it looks like from out, we've seen a few players take a look right there. But even that looks like, ball speed's going to be pretty crucial for that. So it'll be interesting to see if players are seeing this, and they, typically when you don't see hold, you try to move left to find it sometimes, and we'll see if we kind of get an array of that heading into tomorrow's round. I mean, that last shot from Daria looked pretty good. Verdi's tried a few from out as well, but she's crossing 20 there, fourth arrow at the arrows. So not something we typically see too often out or here out on tour.
Yeah, this could be like I say, you could see some different things on the fresh to start. I mean, then you see Daria to the left there, like a 310. Watching Pamela throw a few shots to the outside part of the lane as well, and that didn't look that good, but could be a couple different things. Tried a few different balls, and all of a sudden you've got something that works. Tanya Raumemper back this week too, Aaron Smith. someone you should know, if you will.
I do know Tanya, yes. She was the runner-up at the U.S. Women's Open in 2019. She made the show at the Queens in 2019 as well. And she throws it really, 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 really good. And she has a YouTube channel.
Does she?
She does.
Oh, okay. I need to check that out. Sounds like something we should be talking about. Both Jordan and Haley Richard bowling this week. We might have two sets of sisters. I'll have to go through the roster to make sure. By the way, I assume that was Ryan McDaniel in the chat earlier. His wife, Melanie, is bowling this week. Melanie, a former standout at Alabama A&M, which also is the alma mater of my wife.
Let's go, Shanice.
Who also was a standout at that very university.
Let's go.
6 degrees of bowling.
Taking a look at some comments in the YouTube, Facebook chat as well, and some folks saying this looks pretty short, 34, 35 feet. This is actually 39 feet in length. So a combination of Kegel current and terrain oil. And I do agree with a few folks, looking tricky so far. Emil, I think I cut you off there.
Oh, no worries. No worries. I was just going to say Josie and Jessica. As in Josie Barnes, formerly Ernest, and her sister Jessica Ernest, soon to be Hanson. But Jessica will be bowling this week.
So we have 2 sets of sisters bowling this week, is what you're telling me?
At minimum, we have 2 sets.
So can we call this Sister Act 2?
Or we could call it Sister.
Ooh.
Great show. We do have a set of twins bowling, too, so it would be accurate. Ray Brooks. Hey, Ray. Oh, man. Congratulations, Ray. That is after having children and seeing how grandparents interact, that is something that is just amazing. It's a good look at Kara Mangiolo, who's had some really good success. By the way, Aaron Smith, I'm just going to go ahead and assume it was you or a combination of you and Tennille putting together the separate Rookie of the Year points list on PWBA.com.
It was a group effort, and actually from our Bowl TV fans as well, sent me a note, Jeannie Franklin, asking about that since we've been referencing it so much this year, and
she did ask about that.
So Tennille does send out all the stats every week to be posted, and I'm the one who eventually posts them on the website, and so kind of after that, I'm like, it's a pretty good idea. So I asked Tennille to provide the list of rookies so far this season, and one thing led to another, and we got the ongoing Rookie of the Year points list added as well on PWBA.com.
No, that's really, really cool. We definitely appreciate the work put in there because it makes things just a little bit easier, obviously. Curtis was we were talking about working on a particular piece, and there is Curtis.
And the guy just walks down the lane. He hears his name.
He is working. He's working on a rookie piece for something to run a little bit later in the season. We'll start that process. So we were looking at that list, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we should talk to that person. We should talk to that person. Yeah, we should talk to. Man, I think we should talk to like the top 10." And then I looked at it again, and it said rookie. I'm like, oh, I was like, wait, are the top 10 on the PWBA points list all rookies? Like, that's not right, is it? Which would be obviously impressive.
It would be very cool.
But
yes,
it threw me off for a second there, but thank you for your work in that area.
not a problem. Yeah, this rookie class, something else, and it's been interesting to just we had the preview story a couple of weeks ago talking about the rookie class prior to the BVL Open. Talked to Caitlyn Johnson a little bit about the rigors of tour life. Experiencing that for the first time. Obviously, she's bold, and we're watching her right now too. She just rolled the shot on lane 31, but traveling with Brianna Clemmer this year, they're driving to basically every stop, which is pretty cool. They're getting to see the country. That's something they did with college bowling too, but obviously it's still a little different though. You're not necessarily on a team. Obviously you have your ball company teams and stuff like that, but you're out there competing individually on your own, trying to learn things from stop to stop. But, she was leading after the BVL Open, and then Stephanie Zavala went up and, won her second title in 3 events the following week or at the BVL Open to take over the lead. But Brianna Clemmer, back-to-back third-place finishes here on tour at the BVL Open, at the Albany Open. Stephanie Zavala missed the cut at Albany. She was the first player out. So that ended up being a pretty big swing in points. So right now it's very close for Rookie of the Year as we hit the halfway point. Taking a look at Stephanie Zavala and Brianna Clemmer, but a lot of players still within range, with a performance just like, Brianna has put on the past couple of weeks, or they can find their way into the winner's circle like Stephanie has. Just behind them, Caitlyn still certainly very much in the mix. And then you go down a few more spots. You have Abby Ragsdale, Taylor Bailey, Maria Bolanova. And, Maria is a player who probably knows the center pretty well, bowling collegiately at Vanderbilt. So she probably knows some of the characteristics of this house and things to look out for when competing on this 39-foot pattern. We can look at the week Alexis Nair had at the Albany Open, where she put a run together to, nearly make the show as well. So these young players have been very fun to watch. We were looking forward to this, most of these players coming to the tour in 2020, but having them all together on 2021 has been pretty special.
That's well said, and a good point about the experience regarding essentially specifically Vanderbilt players. And there's one or two, or I guess 3 alums total. There's one associate head coach here as well competing. So, and a few players, obviously. I believe the Southland Bowling or Conference Championship is held here. Does that sound right, Eric?
I believe so. Our Music City is held here for sure.
Music City, definitely, yes.
I think that might be the Southland might, but I think Music City is one of the biggest NCAA events, and it's almost like kind of the equivalent to the Hoosier Classic a little bit as far as kind of at the end of the season. Usually brings out a lot of the top teams. So kind of those parallels to those familiar with the Hoosier Classic, but yeah. So. And I'm sure, Vanderbilt, I believe, about a half hour away from the center, give or take. within the area. So I'm sure some extra practice this week. They were able to get over to 24/7 center at Smyrna, which is, something we're used to more in Las Vegas than, other places around the country, but they don't mess around here in the Greater Nashville area. They like their bowling.
Yeah, you don't see that very much anymore. Remember the first time I saw a 24/7 lane center, it was a Wayland Bowl in Chicago. Those of you are familiar, it's on the north side. It's actually one block from Lane Tech High School, which is where I went to school. And I don't know, a couple miles from Wrigley Field, for context purposes. But 24/7. So I was sometimes the guy who would I can say that I actually did practice there a couple of times before school when I wasn't tardy.
I was gonna say, this sounds very much unlike you.
Yeah.
Just from based off of our work experiences over the past couple of years, I am finding this very hard to believe. But
Aaron put my business in the street. I said when I wasn't tardy.
You
I had a long ride to school. That's funny, but that was the first 24/7 building that I had ever seen, and this was like 2000. No, this was like 1999. And I thought that was just like the greatest thing ever, right? A bowling center that doesn't close. Wow. It's still the greatest thing ever, though, when you really consider it, because you don't see it as much as you used to. So to not only still have a bowling center, especially, post-COVID, et cetera, and then obviously for it to still be operating 24/7 is really good.
I believe here in Texas, Plano Super Bowl, which has hosted a couple of tour events in the past couple seasons as well, 24-hour center. But yeah, typically, with the casinos in Vegas, many of those centers open 24/7. Some of them, open, 20 hours a day, 21 hours a day too. So pretty awesome stuff right there that you can go out and experience that. Anytime you feel the need, you gotta get some games in, gotta get some practice. We're approaching the halfway point here of the official practice session at the PWBA Greater Nashville Open. My name is Aaron Smith, alongside Emil Williams Jr., Curtis Von Kruger, the third member of the Bowl TV team this week. As we saw Curtis out there, not only drops in for excellent sideline reports, but is our video guy out here as well. So some of the great interviews you saw last week from the Albany Open put together by Curtis. So 2019, Curtis was on tour as well throughout the duration. So all of those great pieces, courtesy of Mr. Von Kruger.
That'll be interesting to see, Aaron, what some of these game plans will be for the respective staffs and obviously their players. There's a lot of friction, right? And so I'm not sure strong equipment will be in play all the time. I feel like there could be a need or use for it. I just don't know if that's going to be on the fresh. It could be like an opposite situation where at some point you need something strong just for it to kind of stop hooking on the back, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
There could be, a few bowling balls out there with a little bit more shine than we might expect or see normally. Helps the balls get down the lane. I think we might see more players try to play the gutter. Caitlyn Johnson actually has thrown several shots there that look pretty solid. But I will give her a lot of credit because she's very good at playing the gutter. And so some people are just better at some things than others. And that's just the bottom line in that regard. So, but if others can try to figure that out. That might be an option. I don't know if it's an option for 6 games. This isn't last week. But it could work out for a few. Because right now we are seeing the full range. We are seeing fourth arrow. We are seeing the gutter being played by multiple people.
Well, in the past, Nick has mentioned choose your own adventure for your path to the pocket on some of these patterns. He did not specifically mention that, but it seems like a few different options are dangling out there to give it a shot. We saw Verdi, her previous shot on lane 30, looked great, but her angles were very steep. So, it was getting the ball, to kind of come off the end of the pattern, pretty soon there. And, something similar to what we kind of saw with Kara there. That one didn't quite make it all the way up the hill. But that next shot, she threw was looked pretty good, but you could tell right away that, all right, this thing's more than likely going to, go through the head pin. And it just seems like very little hold, even, past the halfway point here. But we have Caitlyn Johnson up on 31, opening up her angles a little bit more there, but that looked pretty good. Take a look at the Bowl TV chat. There was a question from Ray. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, but asking about Jordan and Haley Richard. Are they twins? Yes, that is true. Good comments coming in on the Bowl TV chat as well. Once again, for the folks watching on YouTube and Facebook, a friendly reminder, if you feel like checking out bowltv.com today, is a great opportunity to head on over there to do so, create a free login, and essentially watch the same thing you're watching right here on Facebook, on YouTube, also available on bowltv.com. We are giving you a free look, essentially, with the login. Check out the practice session here from the Greater Nashville Open, but you can kind of see what the Bowl TV community is all about. Got some familiar names joining us here as well, so always appreciate seeing the folks in the chat each and every week here on the PWBA Tour, and join the sport of bowling and the PWBA Tour. And of course, as we mentioned, bowltv.com, the only place to be eligible to take home the giveaways that we do throughout the broadcast. So you do have to be on bowltv.com, and we'll be talking about it when it's time during this practice session. So we will have one come up today, but you have to be on bowltv.com for a chance to win. And of course, a subscription needed to watch wire-to-wire coverage of the PWBA Greater Nashville Open and the PWBA Tour exclusively on bowltv.com this year. A few different price points to come in at. You can pick up an event ticket to watch live throughout the course of the weekend here. For the Nashville Open, that's $8.95. You can pick up a monthly recurring subscription for just $1 more, $9.95 to pick that up, which gives you access to the entire site. So not only the live coverage, but the archived events and all the on-demand coverage as well. Or you can pick up an annual subscription, the best way to support the PWBA Tour. $79.95 transaction fees to apply at all three price points. But head on over to bowltv.com. If you're there, you can click on Join Bowl TV. That will take you to the different options if you're not a subscriber.
Aaron, you just went through a couple of things there, and I don't want to step on toes. So I'm going to ask you: Did you mention anything about Jennifer Parisi's comment? Hi, JP, regarding Shaolin Zulkifli. Aaron, are you there?
I have to find the comment first. There's been too many since then.
Well, ultimately, did you talk about Shaolin Zulkifli at all?
I have not talked about Shaolin yet this week. So,
all right. Okay. I feel like she's been my pick for the last 2 weeks, and but I haven't seen her throw any shots. I think every time she was close by, I had my head down, typing something or something else. So I asked JP, please let us know in the chat why you think that. Why you think this could be the week for Shaolin. Shout out to Brad Littlejohn too, by the way, who is commenting on both BowlTV.com and the Bowl TV YouTube channel.
It's multitasking right there.
And also, Aaron, Chris asked, can we throw the pattern back up when we get a moment?
Sure. Let's do that right now. It is available on PWBA.com as well, but let's go ahead and bring that up. So we're going to cover up the right pair, 31 and 32 here for a moment. So once again, a look at this week's pattern, 2.61 to 1 the ratio, but certainly looking a little more challenging than the numbers would suggest. Another symmetrical pattern this week, 39 feet in length, 25.28 mils for the volume, and a combination of Kegel Terrain and Kegel Current oil. So again, some additional notes from Nick Hoagland on this week's pattern. No drop brush, so a little more oil at the back of the pattern. As we mentioned, the outside loads are using terrain and the inside loads using current. Current one, the slicker oils from Kegel, terrain, one of the more hooking oils from Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider of the PWBA Tour. The oil in the middle of the lane is on the forward pass, and the oil in the track is on the reverse. To answer your question from earlier, Mr. Williams, Jennifer did respond. Said she's not trying to shape it. It's just about getting to the pocket with energy.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy. I think that also plays into Shaolin's more of her A game, where she's been pretty direct from an angles perspective. A little ball speed as well, certainly.
Yeah, just based off of what we've seen here, it looks like having a little extra ball speed just to create a little hold is going to be potentially advantageous here this week.
I would be curious, as every center sometimes presents challenges. Sometimes the carry is very favorable. Sometimes it's not. So, in my experience, this is not a. I don't know. I want to make sure I describe the center properly, because this is the Smyrna Bowling Center, but it has a lot of obviously the Brunswick characteristics, lanes, throw and bowl. ball returns, etc. And just in my own personal experience with these centers, sometimes Gary can be a bit tricky.
Our coach has set up a complimentary fruit station, a welcome mini reception there that will start at 5. So if you want to grab some fruit, some snacks, you can. And that will be for PWBA athletes only. And that will begin in approximately 5 minutes.
So I don't think we're going to have any stoppages like we have had in the past, Aaron, with practice. Of course, with the protocols being lifted each week, basically, as we move into full capacity amongst varying states and such. So I think it will be a little bit difficult, or more difficult, to get guests on because it was much easier when we had the break. Go hop out, talk to a couple of folks, hey, and then we're good. So I'll have to do a little extra work today. So anyone in particular that you may want to chat with, I'll leave it to the fans too. We'll get a fan vote. We'll get a Bowl TV community. Who would you like to hear from during this practice session? Which player or players? I cannot make any promises, but I will try.
My man.
It may happen early in the rest of this practice session, meaning in the next 10 minutes. It could happen maybe in the last 5 minutes. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's the effort that counts. Emil, a fun note in getting prepared for this week. And I'm not sure how much everyone could hear it over the bowling. Tennille Milligan making some announcements. Our director of operations here on the PWBA Tour, and a USBC Hall of Famer on top of it as well. But and looking at some of the past trips to the state of Tennessee, it looks like this is the first time the tour has been specifically to Smyrna. But the last time the PWBA Tour was in the great state of Tennessee was in 2003 at the Greater Memphis Open, which took place in Memphis, Tennessee. You know who won that event, Mr. Williams?
Tennille Milligan.
Tennille Milligan.
How about that?
Full circle moment right there.
How about that?
Are you keeping notes in the Bowl TV chat there?
I am.
Okay. See, folks, what Curtis is doing there is what you call capturing B-roll. Just getting some different angles here during practice. This is allowed by the tournament staff, so just in case anybody was wondering. Of course, this would not be allowed during tournament competition, but shout out to Stephanie Johnson joining in the Bowl TV chat.
Got a couple of votes for Tennille, so I'm going to try to make sure she's on. Hi, Steph.
again, we've got about a half hour left in this official practice session from the Greater Nashville Open. As we mentioned, the times this week. Starting tomorrow, qualifying round 1, 11 a.m. Eastern for the first 6-game block. Follow it up with a second 6-game block, 6 p.m. Eastern. After 12 games, we'll cut to the top 32 players who will advance to Saturday's round of 32, round 3 of qualifying. They'll take to the lanes 11 a.m. Eastern for another 6 games to determine the top 12. And then one final 6-game block, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, the time for that on Saturday, to determine the top 4. The stepladder finals will be Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, right here on bowltv.com.
All right, so we're going to talk to Curtis. I'm going to try to get a few individuals, including Tennille.
How about that? I think I'm going to switch pairs here for a quick second, meal.
Let's do that.
Toss the schedule here for the Greater Nashville Open up there for everyone to take a look at. Friday and Saturday's competition rounds. Head over to 21 through 24. Saw Dasha Kovalova over here. There's Dasha. Got Stephanie Zavala as well. It's again one of the cool parts about watching on bowltv.com. You do have the ability as a subscriber to hop around to a few different channels available each week. Oh, Emil, we talked about multiple ways to play this pattern. Just like that. Liz Johnson walks on over. Of all the pairs, of all the live streams, she walks onto ours and just absolutely ropes a strike. So we talked about, potentially seeing some folks play the outside portion of the lane. Few in the world better at that than Liz Johnson. And promptly takes care of business.
Indeed. And to her left, you saw Stephanie Zavala, who certainly has made a very nice living, if you will, through the first few events this year of being able to kind of play him left to right a little bit when she can and is comfortable. And so I'd be interested to see. I can't make any judgments based on that one shot I saw, but any player that we've seen so far who likes to play left to right, if you're playing in, then there's no hold. So I think we've obviously identified that.
I'm going to be really interested to watch Stephanie this week. Just based off of some of the things we saw at the Albany Open the BVL Open. And, when we had that talk with Matt McNeil a couple weeks ago about kind of, what makes her ball really so unique out there. And, it seems like with some of the players, who are hooking at trying to create some pretty steep angles, that was one of the things that Stephanie was doing very well and being able to control kind of that mid lane reaction during her run at the BVL Open. So curious if that'll be something that see from her again this week. All right, Emil, I know you were taking diligent notes of who the fans wanted to chat with or want us to chat with here on Bowl TV. And it appears we have our first guest ready to join us here from the Greater Nashville Open. Let's welcome in Shalyn Zulkifli to the broadcast. Hello.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Shalyn. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I am doing well. It's great to see you out here once again. It was fun watching you put on an amazing show last month at the Women's Championships. It was fun getting to talk to you for that, and it's great to see you out here each week on the PWBA Tour. How have the past couple of weeks been going for you?
Actually, last week was pretty good for me. Like I told you in the nationals, like I haven't been bowling much because of the lockdown and everything back home. So I didn't get to practice much. So I'm kind of like practicing as I go on as well. So, but I'm getting more games in. So I feel a lot better now and gaining momentum. Hopefully.
How important is it? Well, I guess first of all, for someone who is used to competing at a high level and obviously bowling a lot of games. When that immediately goes away, theoretically, how did you feel? And obviously, how many months, days you think it really takes for you to get back into kind of the swing of things to where you feel good on a regular basis?
That's a good question, Emil. Actually, it depends.
I tried real hard to ask good
Yeah.
questions.
Actually, I feel a lot better now. I think I've got like two or three stops under me: the Nationals, Reno, and then Albany, and Lake Forest, Farmingdale. Yeah, so I'm getting better, and like because the thing is with us, we bowl every week. We have a stop every week, so you only have like basically 2 days or 3 days to actually work on your game. Before you travel again on Wednesday, for the next stop. So you don't get a lot of time. So like last week, for example, I had to like kind of fix it on the go. And I was quite happy with myself because I was able to do that. Sometimes when you not bowl for a long time, you pick up some bad habits. So last week I was like trying to correct the bad habits that I had, and it worked kind of well. But I still have to improve on certain things that I think I need to work on as the week goes by. But I'm quite happy with my progress so far. So I don't know. It depends on you. For some people it takes longer. For some people it takes quicker. It just depends on physically how you are at that time, and what oiling pattern you play, I guess.
Now, Shalyn, we've had about a little more than an hour on this pattern for this week, this 39-foot condition. It looks like you were kind of taking advantage of your ball speed there. We watched you practice for a little bit. Tell us kind of your first thoughts about the condition out there this week.
Well, I think it's going to be another tough condition this week, like last week. But it seems that for me, at least, it seems that there's more oil in the heads compared to last week. So it looks like it might get a little over under at times. So I just have to be careful and make the right ball choice so that I don't make too many mistakes, and I'll be able to keep with the pace of everyone else. Yeah.
All right, Shalyn. Well, thank you for taking a couple minutes out here during your practice session to join us here on Bowl TV and talk to the fans. So we certainly appreciate it. We look forward to watching you compete for the rest of the week, and best of luck out there.
Thanks. I hope more Malaysian fans tune in as well. Bye.
See you. All right, Emil, there we go. Shalyn joining us here during the practice session from the Greater Nashville Open. So again, we're getting toward the final 15 minutes or so here. So this is going to serve as the final reminder for the folks watching on Facebook and on YouTube that you still have time to head over to bowltv.com, create a free login to join the show that we're broadcasting, simulcasting essentially right now to a couple different platforms. Because on bowltv.com, our giveaway is going to be upcoming shortly. We'll tell you what that is in just a couple minutes, but be on the lookout. A giveaway coming soon only to those watching on bowltv.com. The only place you're able to access the submit entry button is on bowltv.com. So head on over, create a login. Once again, free to do so. You do have to subscribe to watch wire-to-wire coverage of the event, but chance just to check things out today. Head on over to bowltv.com, good folks. Let's do another switch of the pairs here. Looks like we can take a sneak peek at Danielle McCune over on PWBA 2. See Missy Parkin as well. Ashley Scott. Stephanie Zavala moving over. This is lanes 25 through 28. No, we kind of talked about ball speed. Missy Parkin, a player who certainly can get it amped up a little bit. Currently sitting third in the season-long points list. You can find that on pwba.com. We kind of ran that down in our preview story, talking specifically to Julia Bond and Stephanie Zavala, the two players who have won multiple titles of this season here in 2021. Looks like we're going to have Caitlyn Johnson join us here on Bowl TV in just a moment. Caitlyn, good to go? Can you hear me? All right, let's give this a shot and see if Caitlyn can join us here. So here we go. Caitlyn Johnson. Hello.
Hi, how are y'all?
Excellent. You can hear me. That's excellent. All right, I like that. Caitlyn, hi. It's good to see you. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. You got the opportunity to take a first look at this 39-foot pattern. We watched you for a little bit out there. We saw you trying to attack it a little bit straighter than some of the other players out there. Kind of what were you seeing out there in this practice session?
Well, I was seeing, especially on fresh, that not a lot of people were starting outside. There were a few people, but not too many. So as the practice continued and as it kept going on, I kept checking to see which pairs had more breakdown to the right and kind of how far I could chase it in with heavier balls until I had to ball down and get something that was a little bit more angular off the spot. I did move in a little bit and try it, but I tried to mostly just stay right to kind of play a little bit more of my A game and worked a little bit with that. And I feel pretty good about tomorrow.
All right. What type of equipment were you trying out there that was, kind of giving you the best look here kind of at your first look?
Really like low differential earlier bowling balls. They were a little bit smoother, not so sharp off the back end. That's what I was mainly going for the fresh. And if I did have to chase it inside, something with a cleaner cover, but big core, so it would actually come off the spot and really continue through the pins really well. Those were kind of the looks that I was looking for.
Gotcha. Now, when I talked to you a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned that you and Brianna Clemmer and I believe one or two other players were actually driving from stop to stop. So what was the cool thing from driving from New York to Tennessee that you guys got to experience this week?
So actually, we drove back to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where Bree lives at the moment. And we worked with Chuck Gardner and his son, Chuck Gardner, too. And we worked with them a little bit. It was me, Brianna, and Kayla Crawford. And we got some really good training in. Got to stay at home for a little while. So that was nice. Not Texas home, but North Carolina home for me. And then we drove up this morning to Tennessee. through the mountains, which was a lot of traffic and a lot of bumpy roads, but we made it safely, so we're here.
Awesome. What were some of the things that you were working on with Chuck and his son that you hope to bring into the event this week?
A little bit of physical stuff, just tweaks here and there. Just trying to be sharp for this weekend and next weekend coming up. Kind of like a fine tuning thing. Also, a possible fit change in the incoming future, which we noticed that there's a few tweaks that could be made there. At least for me, that's what we noticed. And just mainly focusing on sticking to a game plan and going through it, a little bit of mental side of it too. So it was 2 days of a lot of learning and a really good time. Very, very glad we had the opportunity to go do that.
Very awesome stuff there, Caitlyn. We'll let you go ahead and wrap things up here from Smyrna Bowling Center. But thank you for joining us here on Bowl TV, and best of luck throughout the course of the week.
Thank you, guys.
All right, folks, there we have it. Caitlyn Johnson joining us as well for a couple minutes as we get to the very end here. We are just less than 10 minutes left to go here of this practice session here on bowltv.com. Emil Williams Jr. will be joining us once again. Let's bring Emil back as we. Oh, he says no. Says no. Not yet. Okay, we'll bring Emil back in a couple minutes. So we'll go ahead back to full screen. And let's go ahead and do this giveaway, folks. Bowl TV t-shirt. That's what we're going to be giving away today. So we know a lot of folks have been asking about them. They're looking sharp. Even got a few fans wearing them out there at the event. Shout out to Joe. So we're going to be giving away a Bowl TV t-shirt to one lucky viewer here today. So the way this works, very simple, very easy. Once again, you do have to be on bowltv.com. So we kind of gave that final warning. So if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, last chance to head on over before it's all said and done. But you'll see a prompt in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. It'll say a giveaway is about to begin, and it'll count down for 60 seconds. After that, in the same spot, you'll see another prompt pop up on the screen that says the giveaway has begun. Along with that, you'll see a submit entry button on the screen. All you have to do is click that submit entry button, and you'll be entered for a chance to win a Bowl TV t-shirt. Our marketing team will reach out to you to make sure it gets you the right size so you can proudly wear your Bowl TV gear out there for everybody to see. So Bowl TV t-shirt coming up next. Giveaway time here on bowltv.com. Good question from Don in the chat on Bowl TV about live scoring. At the moment, I do not believe we have it this week. We were going to double check one more time with the folks on site, but right now I do not believe we have live scoring available. So we will do our best to keep you updated on all the happenings around the house from Smyrna for the Greater Nashville Open. Let's get this giveaway going. After Stephanie's shot here. How about Stephanie Zavala? Her shot here toward the end of practice. We'll get the giveaway going. Once again, be on the lookout for that submit entry button. Give it a click, and you are entered for the opportunity to win. All you have to do, just click submit entry. So good luck to everybody. One lucky fan taking home a Bowl TV t-shirt. Curtis Von Kruger, part of the Bowl TV staff. He's the gentleman standing on the gutter cap there in the red, so you often see him swinging on by for sideline reports, but Curtis also takes care of videos for us on the PWBA tour when he's there. And a congratulations to Lori for winning a Bowl TV t-shirt. Lori, our marketing team will be reaching out to you in the next few days to redeem your prize. So thank you for participating, and thank you to everybody for being part of the Bowl TV community. All right, let's bring Emil back here real quick. EWJ, there he is. We got another guest lined up, Emil.
Wonder who it could be.
Looks like she's just about ready over there.
I'm just going to preface this by saying she was making sure that her Afro puffs are straight. Put the headphones on. So I think she's good now.
Let's bring her in. Jasmine Gigi Mason to Bowl TV.
Hello.
What's up, Gigi?
Hi, world. How is
Gigi,
everybody?
we're doing well. We're doing well. How are you? How are you after this practice session on this 39-foot condition this week?
You know, I'm pretty okay. I started probably the wrong part of the lane. Well, I thought it was the right part of the lane, but I just had a better look somewhere else. So I made the move, and now just figuring out what balls look best from that part of the lane.
All right, you mentioned kind of go through a different couple bowling balls there. What were the ones that worked best for you?
My Honey Badger Revival, my RST X1, my UC2, and Dark Code for sure. Those are the ones, the four that are like the main, and then kind of building a couple off of that.
I know, G, we've talked in the last couple of weeks, obviously, just about your overall mindset, and I like to use the term kind of things that start to slow down for you a little bit.
Yeah.
How have the last 2 weeks been? I know there was some frustration in Farmingdale, and then obviously you make the cut, almost miss it again though, and you got a chance to bowl with Kelly and learn some stuff. So how are the last 2 weeks for you?
You know, if I'm honest, the last two, like, bowling-wise, it sucked, but learning, that was a good thing. In Farmingdale, the first block, I just was fishing for a ball. It's fishing for something to match up. Definitely didn't get it till the second block, but then I kind of dug myself into a hole, and it was like 220, then like 180. And when I got pins, I kind of lost them. And then the last game, it was just like a mess. And then last week was okay, but it was still up and down, like 250, 150, 240, 170. So I never really, things weren't really consistent for me. Part of it was just like ball choice, really paying attention on the pairs where I wasn't really doing well. My ball was burning up and I didn't see it fast enough. So I think if I had ball change or made an adjustment, I'm probably not the cut line, probably a little bit higher. But also too, with Kel being on my pair, I saw what she was doing. I saw where she was playing. And she was definitely helping me too with ball choices. I was throwing my promotion and I had gone to my Zen and game too early and I had switched back to my promotion in the last game where my ball started burning up, which is what it was doing all, the round earlier. Kel was like, "Oh, I think it's time for you to go to your Zen." I was like, "Actually, that's what I was just about to do." So just, she even says too, having someone behind you, they can just see it a lot better compared to the person throwing it. So those 2 weeks really sucked, but coming into this, I'm, kind of like short-term memory and kind of learning from those 2 experiences so that I don't make the same mistake here.
Someone had a question in the chat about where might you be playing what's your game plan, essentially, how you might attack the lanes, at least on the fresh.
Let's see. I'm most likely going to stand left and throw right. to be honest, I don't know from like what do you call it? What arrows or whatever, but because they always play different round one. So, but yeah, the game plan is to be left and throw it right because if you miss in, it's going to go left.
We did see a lot of bowl balls going left.
Yeah, at least for me. Like when I missed in, I said, "Oh Lord, God, save me."
All right, Gigi, we'll let you kind of process, the practice session here. As always, thank you for joining us here on Bowl TV. We certainly appreciate it. I know the fans do as well. And best of luck throughout the course of the week.
Thank you. Love you, God Game fam. Ooh.
Thanks,
Bye.
Gigi Mason joining us there. I'm glad you brought up that point. I know we talked a little bit about that last week, but kind of bringing it back to ask Gigi about that experience with Kelly. Gigi kind of fell back and kind of had to, wait out the last spot to see if she was going to get it or not, if she's going to make the top 32. But the cool thing with that is she got to bowl with Kelly throughout. Kelly obviously put on one of the best performances, just wire to wire I can remember on tour and in some time. Just that was so incredibly fun for us to watch. So I know the players are talking out there. They're on the same equipment staff as well. And Kelly's just awesome as one of the top coaches out there too in the world. So I'm sure that was a great experience. I'm glad you brought that up with Gigi as well to kind of rehash that and kind of bring it back to that.
Yeah, it was one thing that unfortunate to miss the cut in that fashion in Farmingdale, and then almost to do it again in back-to-back weeks. But the blessing, if there was one, certainly for her, was the opportunity to learn from Kelly. And I think I have mentioned this Saturday morning. We had talked Friday night, and the first thing she had asked was, "Hey, where was Kelly playing when everyone got done post qualifying?" And we briefly chatted about it. And me not thinking about she would be paired with Kelly because she was the number, meaning she was 32nd, and it's always 1, 2, 32 in that sense. So I was very happy for her in that sense, to where the learning continues. It always continues, but it's even better to learn from Kelly Kulik. So and someone who also is kind of willing to teach while also competing, which doesn't happen a lot, to be honest. So definitely happy for her, and I'm looking forward to seeing her have some good success this week.
Couldn't agree more. Looks like we're getting our final announcements here, Emil. So I believe this session is wrapping up here.
It definitely is. There was with that minor delay at the beginning of the practice session allowed a few additional minutes. Essentially, it still equaled 90, but because they started late, of course, that was the situation there. So.
And if there's any PWBA members who would like a refresher course on how to do one pair courtesy,
so Tennille will be handling the non-member meeting, which for this week there are a lot of non-members. So be a very good meeting to have. That meeting essentially goes over procedures, lane courtesy that we talked about last week as well, and almost like a welcoming, if you will, the roll call meeting before the roll call meeting for the non-members.
I like that. Yes, a great little refresher for folks who may have never bowled in a PWBA Tour event, or it's maybe they did a couple of years ago, coming back to it. Very cool stuff. And folks, that's going to do it for our Bowl TV live looking at the official practice session from the PWBA Greater Nashville Open from the Smyrna Bowling Center, Smyrna, Tennessee. Our host this week, 39-foot the pattern, looked tricky. So we talked to a few different players there. Shalyn Zolkeefly, Caitlyn Johnson, and Gigi Mason. So 3 different styles there. So, and all 3 of them kind of talked about it being a little bit different too. So that's going to be fun to watch everyone try and kind of develop their game plan, talk it over with the ball reps tonight, and go ahead and look into the, what it's going to be like for their 6 games tomorrow, then up to 12 when it's all said and done. So, Emil, I believe, along with some great tunes, you are on the look for ball reps.
I would like to get at least one just to get their sense. Of course, Thriller is on too, and I just want to go. All right, I'll be right back.
There you go, folks. Emil Williams Jr., everybody. All right. As we've talked about throughout the course of the broadcast, bowltv.com will be the place to be for wire-to-wire coverage of the Greater Nashville Open. So for the folks who've been watching on Facebook, on YouTube, we certainly appreciate you joining us here. But bowltv.com will be the place to be. 3 different subscription tiers to come in at to watch throughout the course of the week. If you want to watch just this event just live throughout the course of Friday and Saturday, you can pick up an event ticket for $8.95. If you're looking a little more long-term, you get the monthly recurring subscription. That's $9.95, so just $1 more to check that out. And then the annual subscription, the best way to support the PWBA Tour and these great athletes. We still have another 10 events after this. This is the halfway point of the season, so that's how much more bowling we still have on the PWBA Tour in 2021. $79.95 for that. And with that, you get you get full access to the site. So for the monthly and for the annual, the opportunity to not only watch the live coverage, but the archived events, the on-demand coverage as well. So plenty of great stuff to definitely keep you occupied. All the great bowling stuff, all the past PWBA Tour seasons, all the old school footage as well, all available bowltv.com. So once again, we're seeing if Emil is going to be able to grab us a ball rep to get an opinion on this 39-foot condition. We'll take one more look at it right here as we kind of wait and see. So I'm gonna move over here, just like I planned that. So 39 feet. Look like very little hold out there for these players. So anyone who's getting the ball, kind of in front of them, who's trying to play, second arrow into the track, you had to get the ball away from the pocket. But obviously there was still a little bit of hangout there. So it was very, very tricky, it looked like, for a lot of players from the early going, trying to kind of play in that, second to third arrow range. We saw some players even moving a little bit farther left than that, getting into fourth arrow early, looking at some of the higher rev rates. We saw some of the straighter players closer to first arrow. So there's going to be a lot of options out there with this pattern. So that's going to be the interesting thing you'll want to watch for tomorrow with this very talented field. More than 70 players competing this week, including many of the top stars on the PWBA Tour. We're still, let's see, Emil is making his way back. So he's going to let me know what we got here. Just going to try and get, I believe, Matt McNeil. So still waiting to see. May have a ball rep here before we sign things off. Congratulations again to Lori for winning the Bowl TV t-shirt. We do have giveaways planned throughout the rest of the tournament for each and every round. So be on the lookout for those. Once again, got to be on bowltv.com, part of the community, subscribed to take advantage of those during the tournament. So, folks, we are still waiting to see him. Emil's still working hard in the back end. I can see him through our backstage area here that he's attempting to get something hooked up here before we sign off. Very interesting, very tricky pattern. It's going to be Nathan Bohr joining us. Nathan from Motive is going to be heading over here in just a second. Emil, looks like you're back with us. Got to bring Emil back so I don't feel so awkward being the only one on screen.
Sorry, I apologize that took so long. But I just felt it was important that we hear from at least one ball rep, because
no, I agree.
This practice session was just, or this pattern, I should say, is just so wild that looks like how was the Thriller situation? Okay, it looks like it was well received. Don't worry, folks, I got the full deal. I can go hard. Michael Jackson's my guy. So I can do the Thriller. We can do Beat It. I'm here with I'm here with it. You know what I'm saying? So
all week long on Bowl TV, folks.
I don't want to waste Nathan Bohr's time, me doing Michael Jackson dances Although we'd love to salsa dance. But that's I think I told that story a little bit last week.
Ooh, I don't know that you want to see me do any kind of dancing.
Well, I mean, if we do the salsa dance like Jay Crowder did to
No, I got you. Yeah, my bad. I thought you were referencing my dancing skills,
well, I mean,
which are non-existent.
it's always an opportunity. Nathan, man, I appreciate you, and we'll keep it brief, certainly. But we all noticed that this pattern looked pretty interesting,
Yeah.
iffy, wild, all types of ways to describe it. What did you see, and what were you coaching and talking to your players specifically about how to attack this thing?
Yeah, they look a little harder to get to the pocket this week than the last couple of weeks. It's going to be a different challenge because the last 2 weeks was about getting to the pocket and finding a way to strike. 2 weeks ago on pins that weighed 5 pounds, and last week on pins that it was really easy to get the right angle and get the ball to go through the pins. So this week's going to be a little different. The pins fall fairly easy here, but it's going to be harder to get to the pocket. So no, it's going to be fun. Like I said, it'll be a different challenge. It's I was telling the players I like the track area better, the track and left. Looks like if you get it, if you try and play the right, you can kind of get trapped on one pair or one lane that looks good. But then the part of the lane you have to play when you're playing to the right is so close to the track that if you miss any left, you've got no left. So yeah, I think kind of start around 10, 12, maybe 15, and then start migrating left.
Nathan, one of the things we really noticed is that there was very little hold out there. It seemed like that there was not a lot. So, is moving left the best way to create that this week? You feel throughout the course of the block is just that's going to be a constant throughout the block, or is it going to be to a point where you can get on this pattern and finally find a little bit of that?
I think you can find a little bit of it on certain pairs or certain lanes, but there's just not enough help to the right. The ball will get through it too easy when you get it going right. So in order to create any left, you need a little bit of angle through the front. And so you can't do that from 10, 11, 12. You have to do it from 15 to 20. So that's the main deal there. I feel like it's going to be who can control that mid lane spot the best. Get the ball online and get it to kind of read in the mids the right way and go forward off the pattern rather than really trying to open it up.
Last question here, just from a style perspective, what styles might we see have success on this condition?
Man, all of these players are so good at doing what they do. There's really no way to tell. You looking at the pattern, looking at the shape, at the angles that like to be played, you would say that the higher rev rate players might have a little bit of an advantage, but really it's just going to be someone who's comfortable being in the track or left of the track and getting their ball to do the same thing in the mid lane every time, whether that's high rev rate, low rev rate. You're going to have some angle through the front. It's just a matter of how you get it to come off the mid lane.
Excellent. I appreciate it. We appreciate you, and good luck the rest of this weekend.
Yeah. Thank you. I actually enjoy talking to you guys when we're not talking bowling. So give me a softball. Give me a quick softball before I go.
Quick softball.
Softball.
How was the Bethpage experience?
Oh my God, that is not a softball. That was outstanding. It was outstanding. It was Maria asked me last week or early this week. She said, "What?" Just apropos of nothing. She said, "What is the best sporting venue you've ever been to?" Thinking we've been to Cowboy Stadium. I've been to I was to Turner Field in Atlanta. I'm a big Braves fan. I've been to Memorial Stadium where the Longhorns play. Bethpage Black, by far best sporting venue I've ever been to. It was amazing.
Well, I think that was
Very
awesome.
That's an easy answer. That's true. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. Thank you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Nathan. All right. Nathan Bohr from Motive joining us, ball rep on tour. Always great to talk to Nathan. Some good advice there. Talked about controlling the mid lane this week. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Oh, full circle. Maria Jose Rodriguez. There we go. Tour Championship 2018. All right, folks. Emil, any final parting thoughts before we sign off here?
I keep it simple, man. Nathan said it best, and he gave us something to look forward to, or to look at, essentially, as this thing happens tomorrow. But I still don't know what's going to happen, man. I'm as intrigued and interested to watch a round of qualifying as I've been in a very long time. And obviously, I was very excited last week, but I knew what I was expecting last week. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow, and I think we could see players in fifth arrow by the end of the block tomorrow. So, which you don't see a lot of on this tour, but it does happen, and we have some players who can do that very well. So we'll be on the lookout for that.
Absolutely. And once again, 11 a.m. Eastern, the start time for tomorrow, round number 1 from the PWBA Greater Nashville Open from Smyrna Bowling Center, Smyrna, Tennessee. We're going to go ahead and sign off, folks, but we can't do this without a lot of great folks helping us along the way. USBC and BPAA and their board of directors, a big thank you for their continued support of the PWBA Tour. Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider on the tour as well. Shout out to Kegel and their crew, always helping us out, putting down great patterns at these venues and facilities. The players each and every week for putting on the show. We're excited to see what they're going to bring to us tomorrow. Once again, 11 a.m. Eastern, that start time for round 1. Of course, the Bowl TV community hooked Lori up with a t-shirt today. Always enjoy the conversations in the chat. So we're looking forward to more of that until we get to the Step Ladder Finals on Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we crown a champion here at the halfway point of the 2021 PWBA Tour season. Of course, the venue, Smyrna Bowling Center, big thanks to them, their whole crew, Chris and company, for everything they do for the sport, for our on-site team as well, and for the Bowl TV crew, Curtis Von Kruger, Emil Williams Jr., I'm Aaron Smith. Thank you again for joining us here from the official practice session from the PWBA Greater Nashville Open. We're signing off for today, folks. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. And remember, on Bowl TV, bowling lives here. Have a great night.